Hi, I'm Phyllis, southernfrugal.com. This afternoon it's kind of late, but we're going to fix a meatloaf, and this is a different kind of meatloaf than I have made in the past. So anyway, we're going to get started here. You want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Now, I've got 2 pounds, a little over 2 pounds of ground chuck, and you want to make sure you get the 80-20. Don't get the really lean because it's going to make the meatloaf dry if you do. You actually need the fat. So, well, let me finish telling you all about it. So this is a recipe that was on the back of the Lipton soup, the instant soup, the onion. And it was on during the 1970s, and I'm not exactly sure when. But anyway, my sister makes this, my older sister makes this all the time. It is quite delicious. So anyway, I wanted to do a video on it to show y'all how she makes it. And of course, we're just going to go right directly by the recipe. She actually cut this out on the back and had the actual recipe from the 70s. She had taped it in her little cookbook. Anyway, so what you'll need is the Lipton soup mix, and you want to just use one of the little packets that are in there. So I'm going to tear that off. Actually, I'm going to cut it off, okay? Alright, so we're going to sprinkle this right in with the 2 pounds of ground chuck. Now, you don't need any additional salt or anything like that. We also want to put in 3/4 of a cup of just plain breadcrumbs. Nothing fancy here, just the plain ones. That's 3/4 of a cup. And I am going to leave, the recipe right down below this video. All right, and the other thing we're going to need is 2 whole eggs, and these are large eggs, and I'm just going to beat those up a little bit. And we're also going to need 1/3 of a cup of ketchup. I'm just going to actually put that in with the eggs. And you'll also need 3/4 of a cup of just plain water. Just going to beat that in with the eggs. You could just dump it all in. I'm going to put the water in there also. Again, that's 3/4 of a cup of water, 1/3 of a cup of ketchup, and 2 large eggs. And of course, you've got the Lipton instant soup mix. Just use 1 packet. And the 3/4 of a cup of plain breadcrumbs. All right, that ought to work right there. So we're just going to dump it right in on top of everything. And then we got a lot of mixing to do here. Get the rest of that out of that bowl. Just get in there and squish it all together. All right, let me get this all mixed up and we'll be right back. All right, we've got it all mixed up now. Now we're gonna went ahead and put on my other gloves. So we're gonna just kind of form a loaf in my little Pyrex dish. Get all that out of there. Let's see if we can't form a little loaf here. Of course, it's going to shrink up because it's got 20% of the fat in there still. And once it does, of course, we'll just drain that off once it gets done. All right, and I did put a little bit of shortening in the bottom of my pan. So we're going to put this in the oven, 350 degrees, for about 1 hour, and we're going to check it with the meat thermometer, you want the internal temperature to be at least 160 degrees. All right, let me take my gloves off here. All right, we'll be back in about an hour and let you see what this looks like. All right, we are back, and while the meatloaf is cooking, we're going to go ahead and make some just real simple brown gravy. Now, I like to make it with butter, so what you'll need is 3 tablespoons of butter, or you can use shortening, and 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And I just, of course, use white lily. Just make sure it's all-purpose. So I'm going to go ahead and make it in this little pot here. So I'll just go ahead and melt my butter first. Let that get all melted. There's my microwave. So I'm going to get 2 cups of hot water. We're not going to need them right now, but we'll need them in a minute. Now I'm going ahead and heated this water up because I'm using a ceramic lined little pot here to make this in, and I just don't want to hurt it, you know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure the water's hot. All right, let me turn it up and tell y'all what I've done. All right, I cannot tell you the number of ladies and probably gentlemen too that have written and told me you need to get a new spatula. That one is in really bad shape, and it is. Now, this is a Martha Stewart spatula, and I got it in Kmart many years ago. I've been using it forever. Now, it's not chipped or no pieces have come out of it. It's just been really good. But for all those people that said I should get a new one, I did. This is an Oneida, and I got it at Walmart, and you can get 2 of these for $5.46. So I thought this is the time to do it, and this can withstand heat up to 450 degrees is what the directions said. And I do like the fact that this one has a metal handle where this one was wood, and it's, of course, it's been in the dishwasher. I don't know, I use it almost every day, and you see it's got mildew stains on it and everything because it's wood. So this one will be better. So I hope y'all are proud of me for doing that, because I did it because so many of y'all said I should get a new one. All right. So our butter has melted now, and I've got the burner on just a little above medium. I'll move y'all up closer. So the butter's melted. So now I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour. So that's 3 tablespoons of butter and 3 tablespoons of flour. And what we want to do is get this flour kind of browned a little bit. Now all I'm going to do is go ahead and add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That's all. I'm not going to put any pepper because y'all know I'm allergic to pepper, but y'all could put in pepper at this point. So we're just going to stir it around. It's going to start getting brown pretty quick because of the butter. And it's also cooking this flour. And by the way, I'm not going to throw this away. I just can't bring myself to do it. But maybe I won't use it so much now. Alright, so we're just going to let this get good and brown now. This gravy is going to be specifically to go on the meatloaf. And to me, this is the type meatloaf you maybe don't want to put ketchup on. And it is going to be different than a lot of meatloaves. And if some of y'all have used this recipe over the years, y'all write and let me know. My sister said it was from the mid-70s, she thought. She wasn't sure though. But that's what she thought. So, and again, you don't have to use butter for this, but it is better if you use butter, okay? You could actually use shortening or even oil. You just want equal amounts of flour to oil, or grease or butter, whatever you use. So we're just going to let this keep cooking here. Let it get brown. And once it gets brown, we're going to add the water, and then we're going to simmer it for a while and let some of the water evaporate. But again, this is specifically to go on the meatloaf. So you can see it's sort of already getting a little brown. Maybe I'll a little closer so you can see. See, it's already getting brown. Now you can make chicken gravy this way. You can make beef gravy this way by adding either beef stock instead of water, or you could add like bouillon, chicken bouillon or whatever. You just want to make sure you add about 2 cups of liquid to it. All right, I'm going to have to turn my burner down because it's actually getting brown a little too fast. Can y'all see the color now? You don't want it to burn, so you want to keep, make sure you keep stirring it up from the bottom. All right, that looks about right. We're going to add our hot water now, and the reason I'm doing hot is because of the ceramic pot I'm using. It's going to foam all up, so here we go. That's 2 cups of liquid. In this case, I'm using 2 cups of water. Now we're just going to let this simmer on the stove, and don't worry about the lumps because they will come out once you simmer it, for the most part. So it's just sort of going to be sort of a medium brown gravy, not a real dark gravy. And again, if you wanted it like a beef gravy, you could use beef stock. You could use chicken stock. You could use chicken bouillon. You could use beef bouillon, however you want to do it. But this is the simplest of gravies. And it's not a milk gravy. This is just using some liquid other than milk. All right, y'all, I'm going to let this simmer, and we're still waiting for our meatloaf to get done. We'll be back. All right, we are back. The meatloaf is done. Now, in my oven, it actually cooked 1 hour and 20 minutes, and that's probably because I had it piled a little higher than maybe you would normally do, because I like to be able to make meatloaf sandwiches also. So mine cooked actually up to 170 degrees, which is okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a little piece off the end. Now we're actually going to have this tomorrow, but I want a taste of it. So I'm going to cut it off this back end here. Just a little piece. Can y'all see that? There's what it looks like on the inside. And I'm going to go ahead, and if I can find my spoon, I'm going to put a little of the gravy on it, like that. Just a little bit of the gravy. Now, a word about the gravy. It's been on the stove simmering this whole time. I did have to add a little more water to it. There went my spoon. You don't have to worry about lumps or anything. I mean, I never worry about lumps in gravy because the gravy's just good, okay? So, all right, we're going to give it a taste now. Now, you want to make sure that you do not put any extra salt in the meatloaf when you're mixing it up, because the salt is really in the Lipton soup mix. All right, we're going to taste this. I hope it's not too hot. It's very good. To me, you always see onions and bell peppers in meatloaf, and that's really always the way I fix it. But this is the one my sister makes, and it is really good. She takes it to family reunions and church group things where you take a covered dish, and she said it's always gone. People always get a piece of it. So anyway, that's it. They called it, I wrote that down too, the superior meatloaf is what Lipton called it. It is quite good, but just remember, do not put any extra salt in it at all. So, and the gravy, I really like the gravy on it. It just tastes different than a meatloaf that you would put ketchup on. All right, y'all, there it is. All right, we will see y'all next time. Bye for now.